Today I'm going to show you how I use LiControl. I have the mode selector switch, which has modes 0, 1, and 2. And we also have a push button here. This is the momentary button. And then we have a potentiometer here, which I call the joystick. Pulling it towards this dot that's on the top here is regen, and pushing it forward is assist. And I'm just going to show you how I drive this in the real world. So first of all, we need to talk about the modes. Again, we have modes 0, 1, and 2. Mode 0 is OEM mode. In this mode, it's OEM. So the momentary button does nothing. The joystick does nothing either. This is the mode you would put this in if you were loaning your car to someone else, for example. You just want the car to work exactly like it did in OEM. That's mode 0. I never use mode 0. Next up is mode 1, which is the mode that I use 99% of the time. You can certainly just leave this in mode 1 and drive the car all the time. So what is mode 1? Mode 1 is manual assist and regen using the joystick here, but all of the other OEM signals go through, specifically auto start and auto stop. So, you can start the car in mode 1. You can hit auto stop at traffic lights and then auto start again. Again, mode 1 is a manual assist and regen. Everything else is OEM. So that leaves mode 2. Mode 2 I use 1% of the time, and I specifically use it at traffic lights when the engine doesn't want to turn off. So in mode 2, all of the OEM signals are ignored, including assist and regen, but also auto start and auto stop. So why do I use this at traffic lights? I use it because sometimes the ECM wants the engine on and I don't want it on. So I will show you all of that functionality now. We'll actually drive this here. I'm going to go to mode 1 again because that's the mode I use 99% of the time. So I'm going to shift now into first gear. So we're in mode 1. And I don't even need to use the gas pedal if I want to accelerate. I can just push this forward. I'm going to push it with my thumb here. That's how I drive this. And you can see that I'm starting to head forward now. So I'm getting now to the end of a cul-de-sac. So I'm going to go ahead and put the clutch in. And because the engine is already warm, it auto stopped. This brake light right here is not part of the LiControl. I'm just showing you this so that you can see when I'm applying the brake. So right now I have the brake on, right now I don't. So here we're accelerating again. I'm just using LiControl. Right now I'm just assisting, but we can of course regen as well. If I want to regen, again, I just pull backwards. So that's gonna slow me down. So here I'm coming up on a stop sign. I'm gonna regen down to maybe 1,000 RPM, and then as soon as I hit 1,000, I'm gonna force a regen auto stall. And to do that, I continue to pull this back until the engine stalls out. I do need to pull forward, I can't see anything. So I can go back in gear, and you notice the engine automatically started. Where do I shift? So in general, with the manual transmission, when you're driving with the LiControl electric, you want to be at higher RPMs than you would normally be. So I tend to stay between 2,000 and 3,000 RPM when I'm driving fully electric, which is what I'm doing right now. So what happens if you want to use the air conditioner? Your right hand is in use here, so you can actually set a current value. And right now I have 20 amps. And to do that, you push the momentary button. As soon as you've done that, it stores that assist value. So we are sitting here, we're applying approximately 20 amps, and there are several things that can cancel this current assist value that we have. One is you can always just push the momentary button again. When we do that, the assist is gonna go away. Technically, it's just setting it to wherever the joystick is. So if we wanted to set this up to 50 amps, there's 50 amps there. And again, it's just gonna keep doing that. Now, another thing that will cancel it is touching the brake. So I'm gonna touch the brake now and you can see that it cancels. That's a safety feature, just in case you hit the brake or whatever. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just keep driving here. I'll store, this is a 40 amp assist. Now this is really useful on longer trips. So when I'm driving, say like 200 miles or whatever, I will put like a constant you know, 2 or 3 kilowatts of assist. So with the Fumoco kit, a 2 kilowatt background assist will last for about 4 hours, which is an extra 3 horsepower for 4 hours, which is really, really nice. Normally I'm just driving the car with my thumb. So instead of using the gas pedal, I just sit here and modulate my thumb as needed to assist and regen. This is particularly on trips under like 50 miles with the Fumoco setup, because you can just drive that fully electric. Now, of course, the 5 ampere G3 is a much smaller battery, so you do drive it more differently. LiControl is still useful with the smaller, the original battery pack. It's just more for applying like on-demand assist and then, of course, on-demand regen. Notice we've never left mode 1, so a lot of people get really confused about these modes. If you're confused about the modes, just put it in mode 1 and don't ever use any other mode if you're wanting to use manual. Now, of course, if I want the car to use the OEM signals, I can just go to mode 0, but especially with Fumoco, that's the ECM doesn't understand how to use a battery that large. So with the Fumoco kit, I don't ever recommend using mode 0 because it's just sitting there trying to background regen right now, which is really annoying. So we'll go back to mode 1. Again, in mode 1, the OEM assist and regen signals are ignored entirely. Okay, let's look at some common issues you might run into here. So I'm at a stop sign right now, and I go to put the car in first gear, and nothing happens. The engine does not start. In addition, if I tried to key start it, that doesn't work as well. So what is the issue here? The issue is that I'm in mode 2. In mode 2, auto start does not work. All of the OEM functionality is disabled, so key start won't start it. Basically, in mode 2, you can't auto start, you can't auto stop. So what is the solution? You need to go to mode 0 or mode 1. So if you're in mode 2 again, putting the car in gear will not IMA start. So you need to go to mode 1 or mode 0. So now that we're in mode 1, there's our IMA start working. Another issue you can run into is if you hit the power really hard below about 1800 RPM, then you can get IGBT power stuttering. There it is right now. I don't know if you saw it buck there. If you keep stuttering, you're gonna get an IGBT P code, which is basically that the overcurrent flag was detected, for example. So the solution to that is that when you're below 1800 RPM, you need to stay below about 14 kilowatts to avoid that. Eventually, a firmware fix will prevent the IMA system from providing 14 kilowatts during that transition. But for now, it's just something you need to be aware of, that if you get stuttering, the solution is you need to immediately stop assisting, otherwise you'll get a P code, and then you can gradually come back on. And again, if you stay below about 13, 14 kilowatts, you won't ever get that issue when you're below 1800 RPM. As soon as you're above 1800 RPM, you can push it to 21, 22, you can do whatever you want there. The limitation is right at that 1800 RPM crossover. One thing you'll find when you start getting above 3500 RPM, lighter assist values, say 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatts of assist, it's gonna start to buck. And that's just because of the way the IGBT power stage works. It will be fixed once LiMCM exists, but I can't do anything about it with the OEM MCM. So the next issue you might see is that on long regions, so if you're going downhill for like 1,000 feet vertically, you're gonna run into an issue where eventually the MCM is gonna just stop regening. As long as the OEM MCM is installed, there's nothing we can do about this. LiMCM will fix this issue once that product exists. But what you'll see is that as you're regening, eventually, you know, we're dropping about 1,000 feet vertically right now. Eventually the MCM is just gonna say, nope, we're not putting any more energy into the battery. It happens after, I don't know, 600 or 700 watt hours over a few minutes. And so essentially there's an integrator that's basically adding up all of the energy you've put into the battery, and then every second it's subtracting a small amount of that. If the result, the integrated result, is too large, then the MCM stops regening, which is what it just did right there. So we are now no longer regening. It doesn't matter. You notice I'm starting to go quickly. Now LiControl is still telling it to regen, so it's still turning this brake light on, even though it's no longer braking. So kind of an annoying thing. Again, LiMCM will fix this functionality. Nothing I can do about it as long as the OEM MCM is there. So even though regen is disabled right now, the car will still auto stop. If you try to force auto stall, it does still work. You'll see that here when I turn, that I'm going to push the clutch in, pull the regen back, and it's going to stall out there. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And I went into mode 2 again because I don't want the engine to restart. Okay, so that is a quick overview of using LiControl. In summary, you're going to use mode 0 if you are giving your car to someone else and you just want assist and regen to work like OEM. Mode 1 is what you're going to use pretty much all the time. So if the mode switch is confusing to you, just put it in mode 1 and just use that. And then mode 2 is more of a special control for when you want the engine to be off, but the car wants the engine to be on.